welcome to the walk round of my Mark 5 Golf GTI. It's had lots of modifications done. I had a few people ask if I could just do a bit of a walk round, go through a few of the things I've done. So here it is, see what you think. So welcome back to another video. You may have seen some of my other videos of me doing a repair to my car, putting a new gearbox in. Did that over lockdown during the pandemic that we're going through in 2020. But I got a request to do a bit of a walk around of my car, because in the background you can see my car, and a lot of people liked it. So I'm glad that people liked it. That's nice. I've had the car 3.5 years, and during that time I've just done nothing but just keep modifying it bit by bit, doing my own little thing. I really like Edition 30s. Unfortunately at the time I couldn't afford an Edition 30, so this is the 2006 Mark 5 GTI. It had factory leather seats, which I really like. Everything just rubs off leather, doesn't it? So that's a bonus. It had xenon headlights. It had the upgraded 18-inch wheels on, but somebody had painted them black, and they did look nice, to be honest. But because black and red go together really well, it just wasn't for me. And I also still had a set of 18-inch 3SDM 0.01 alloy concave wheels that were staggered. So I had the rear 9.5-inch wheels that were just really wide with the stretch tyres on, and I was going through that phase where I just wanted like stretch tyres and wide look and slammed and all that kind of thing. So I put them on and sold the Monzas. The previous owner, I don't know if he'd done it or the owner before him, had done the bottom half of the rear bumper colour coded, because I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but it just looks shite with that black plastic bumper. Unless you've got a black Golf GTI, which close up you're going to see that it's just black plastic. It just looks crap. It shouldn't have come like that. I don't understand why they did it. It's just stupid. Let's just talk a little bit about why I bought the car. So the Mark 5 came out, like, I believe late 2004, 2005, and before the GTI came out, the standard car, I didn't like it. I just thought it was ugly. They'd just gone in a mental direction with the look of the car between its predecessor, the Mark 4, and then to this. It was just like, what? Yeah, I didn't like them. But then the GTI came out, and boy did I change my mind. I had no idea what it was going to be like to drive, but God, I love the look of it. I mean, just by changing that front bumper to that like deeper honeycomb grille with the bigger fog grills, and then adding the side skirts again, yeah, they were black plastic, but they were all right. It just added a little bit of character to it, made it look that little bit wider, and then some big wheels on it and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I really liked them, but God, they were out of my price range. Obviously new. 2005, I was like 19 or something like that. So it was way out of my price budget, insurance, all that kind of stuff. It was never going to happen. Fast forward to February 2017, and now I can afford to buy one. They're in the range between, I don't know, £4,000, £5,000, £6,000, £7,000. My friend had one a couple of years earlier, a grey one. God, it looked good. It was like, for me, it was either grey or red. But no, I quite liked the idea of this red Golf GTI, black grille at the front, and then it kind of made up for like having like black trim all over, so the side skirts being black plastic. It kind of looked nice. The previous owner didn't tell me until after I'd bought it, but it doesn't matter. I was quite happy actually when he told me that this had already had some form of a map done on it. I found out that it had 217 horsepower. Let me just double check that because I've got it on the map. Yeah, I had plenty of mods in mind for the car. So what I'll do is I'll fire through the list. One of the very first mods I did was I found a forged diverter valve for sale. It was second hand, it was going cheap, nothing wrong with it. And as a lot of you know, the diverter valves on here, the ones that come stock, the diaphragm splits on them. So I saw this forged diverter valve, installed it, and woof, there you go, it worked fine, no problems. And then next thing on the list was an induction kit, because God, everybody wants an induction kit for the Golf GTI, don't they? And my God, I'm glad I did, because from the minute I put that thing on, it just sounds like Darth Vader under the bonnet. Yeah, oh my God, what amazing noises this car can make. After I'd done the induction kit, I then moved on to, I believe, a downpipe. Now, again, this had already had a pre-cat delete, which is really easy to do. You can search YouTube and watch videos on how to do it. I had plans for some form of remap on the car. I was aiming for stage 2 or a stage 2 plus. So to get either stage 1 or stage 2 plus, you need induction kit, you need something like an S3 intercooler. Well, what I did was after I'd installed the 3-inch downpipe D-cap, I found a forged front mount intercooler, which then converts the car into a twin intercooler. I'd installed that, put the front bumper back on, and did a service on the car. I'm probably missing all sorts of other things. If I wanted a stage 2 plus, you've got to do the high pressure fuel pump. Needs the internals changing. And for crying out loud, why are they so expensive? They are really, really expensive. They're a few £100, and that's might even be, we're talking second hand ones. I booked in at Artec and got the car booked in for its check over and whatnot. Did an oil change, changed the filter, changed the fuel filter. But yeah, banged it into Artec. Nicky sorted me out. What a guy. If you don't know who he is and you don't know who Artec is, check him out. I'm not being paid to plug him or anything. Artec have just got the craziest reputation for the TFSI engine mapping. They just do so much, just do amazing work, and they're fun guys. They literally make you feel like they're friends. It don't matter that you don't know them, they make you feel really welcome, and they'll talk you through any problems you've got on your car. I tell you what, he mapped the car, and what a difference. Obviously, it felt great. I can't fault it. The thing puts smiles on my face. I do the smiles per gallon thing all day long. Fun. Fuck, I love this thing. And he puts this roundabout and smash the brakes on. I don't even have to go down the gears. I mean, I do anyway. The brakes are just so good. Just holds all day. Love it. Obviously 99 RON fuel, and I only do that because I don't drive the car all the time. If I had to drive the car for work or anything like that, I'd probably use some 95, but I wouldn't have the map turned to full. Now this is a stage 2 and it's got 270 brake horsepower and I believe 320 pound-feet of torque, and the power band is just amazing. So basically I can turn the map down on this car if I want, put it either back to stock, or like there's 5 different maps on it. The only thing is I don't know what each individual one does. 20 horsepower between them all, I'm assuming, because stock would be, you know, 200 and this runs 270, and basically it has 5 different maps that I can turn on and off. So I'll show you. Basically you just turn the ignition on with the engine off, stick your foot on the brake, stick your foot on the brake and just tap the accelerator, and the accelerator needle on your RP, the needle will go to like 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50, 50 being the high map, which I just keep it at that. I mean, I haven't changed the map on this in 2 years, you know, because I've never needed to. Even when it's fucking weather's mental and it's shit and horrible and wet, I've learned to drive the car, and I know not to just put my foot down like that because it'll just spin up and it'll be shit. So I know to just feather it in a little bit more like that. But yeah, after I'd done that, I were happy with the power. I then just started doing cosmetic stuff, making it look nicer. I did actually eventually take the centre box out and just put a straight piece of pipe in. So now I have the 3-inch downpipe, the D-cap, the middle box deleted, and now all I have is I just have the original standard back box, and I think it sounds nice. So what I did is the tips on my old one are all rusty. One of them had dropped off, the other one were falling to bits, right mess. So I just took the other ones off, cleaned them, and then I got some really clean, nice Miltech exhaust tips and put them on, and they're just that little bit bigger, and it fills the gap in the back bumper better. I'd seen for sale a American rear bumper, so basically with the number plates like that big, it was like that, and it was already red, but it was a bit of a mess. But I got a pretty good deal on it, and a kid from over in Scarborough. Unfortunately, I just happened to be working over there in my work van when he had it up for sale, so I made a deal with him one night, met up with him, picked it up, and off I went. Got it repainted. Because I'd got the twin intercooler, I bought open fog light grills, and now you can see my intercooler pipes. I'd had various paintwork repairs done on the car before I had my side skirts colour coded and whatnot. It had the dreaded VW badge rust, so I got that repaired and painted. I got the rear arches repaired, that rear arch repaired. I eventually then bought I think it's called Vortex or something, I'm probably way off, but basically a aftermarket replica bottom splitter that looks like the Edition 30 splitter. I bought that and got that colour coded to the car, and then at the same time I had my side skirts colour coded as well. So now at this point, unless you know a lot about the Edition 30s, it kind of looked like an Edition 30 from the outside. It was starting to look a lot like what I liked, and I had bought some BBS 19-inch CH wheels, which are the same look of the Edition 30 wheels, barring mine was 19-inch and they were gloss black. Now I actually bought these wheels long before I owned this car, many years ago, for an Audi A4, and then I sold them to a friend of mine who had them on an Audi A3. And during the time that he'd had that car, I had like various cars and whatnot, and then he eventually sold his Audi A3 and asked me if I wanted to buy them off him, so I bought them back off him. At the front of my car, where the number plate goes, people just fucking drill number plates onto your car, and they make a right dog of it. I bought a new front grille, a smooth one, so I was driving around with no number plate on the black glossy finish, and it was smooth, so no holes where the number plate holder was, or the number plate were drilled through. So I had paint repairs done on the car a couple of times, and they need doing again because, like a Doylem, I spent an absolute fortune on air ride. Now, I've always wanted air ride on my car, like a lot, and you probably there's a lot of haters for air ride, and I understand why. Because it's just ridiculous money. It's so stupid what the cost of air ride is for a car. Should we have a race? See what this guy can do. Oh yes! Right, so back to the air ride. Yeah, I won't tell you how much I paid for it, but I did get a good deal on it, but it's still a stupid amount of money. I basically took a credit card out just so I could buy it because it was such a good price, but I didn't have the money. I had to have it. Thus 3p. And yeah, it does everything that I really wanted it for. One, I park the car up, I slam the car, and everybody thinks it looks broken. I like the look of it. My opinion, my car, do what I want with it. And then I can drive it like I am now with like 40 psi in the back and 60 at the front. The car sits pretty good while I'm driving along and whatnot. And then I get to a speed bump and boom, I just lift it up, no scrapes. So I've got these 19-inch wheels now. Anyway, so I put them on the car, I put some decent tyres on them with the idea of getting them refurbed at some point. I took the wheels to a place in York and they took the tyres off for me. They repaired any damage, filled any gaps, rubbed down what they needed to do, and I had them painted gold. Yeah, you heard me, gold. I didn't make this decision lightly. Red car, gold wheels, that doesn't sound great, does it? But you know when you get bored, you just want something different. You know what? It looked good on the car. And I'd seen one picture on YouTube of an R32 in red, which I believe they're still a Tornado red. And God, they looked good. Like, they look good on there. And I was like, look, I sent the picture to the guys that were doing my wheels. I says, I want them like that. Like, try and get them like that. And bloody hell, yes, they did. I now have Edition 30 rear lights. They're rather expensive, but I eventually bought them a few months ago, and yeah, definitely looks better. One of the last things I'm going to talk about on the outside of the car is the brakes. Now, when I bought the Edition 30 rear lights, I was really lucky that the same guy who was selling them was selling Club Sport Mark 7 4-pot brake calipers. They were in the nice red with GTI writing on them. He was selling them with Barodo pads in, which I haven't heard any squeaking actually, by the way, so that's fantastic. But he was selling them with a pair of discs off the Club Sport. I think they're 340mm, and Jesus Christ, they're big. They are massive. Yeah, they're really good brakes. I'd recommend them to anybody wanting to do a brake upgrade on a Mark 5 GTI because they just bolt straight on. They're absolutely amazing, so good. You don't have to do any modifications, fitting anything like that. So interior wise, I have installed a 8-inch radio, sat-nav, DVD player, whatever you want to call it. It's sat-nav's alright, it's just a cheap one I found off eBay. So I bought it more for looks than anything, just to bring the interior a little bit more to life, because the original radio looked a bit naff. But yeah, no, it looks nice. It's got like a little bit of piano black around it, like a glossy black surround, so that looks a bit nicer. And then below that, I've updated the climate control, so now it's got the Mark 6 climate control rather than the Mark 5, because I just thought it was a bit old and dated. Again, that's got like a nice glossy piano black on there, and because I've got the heated seats, the heated seat buttons work with that as well. So everything works as it should, it's plug and play. The only thing is you just need to buy like the surround that fits with it. Moving on to the gear knob, I now have a Mark 7 gear knob. It's the one with the golf ball on the top. Moving on to the steering wheel, I've installed a Mark 7 flat bottom steering wheel. It's got the badge for, it's got the R on it, but it's not the R like Golf R, it's more of the R line badge. But yeah, it looks really nice. But it only looks this nice because I found this one really cheap on eBay. That was, all the leather was all chewed up and smashed. I don't know if it'd been in an accident or something, and it didn't have an airbag slash horn. So I picked this up pretty cheap. I got it sent away and had it all completely retrimmed to, because it's the Mark 7 gear sticks, I just find that they've gone really skinny, which makes the steering wheel look massive. So I had it thickened up and trimmed to my liking. So I've got thicker like thumb grips around the steering wheel. I have like a two-tone leather, so I've got like a smooth leather on top, and then I've got like this like racing leather with the racing leather in the middle, and then back to smooth at the bottom. I have red stitching, and then I've got it finished off with the red stripe at the top, the centre stripe. And then in the middle I opted for an original horn airbag, which I won't lie, that cost more than the steering wheel did, excluding the retrimming. The only thing I would like to do on the inside is the handbrake just has regular black or grey stitching on it. I wouldn't mind an Edition 30 or just getting this handbrake retrimmed with red stitching to match the steering wheel, the gear stick gaiter. It would just look a little bit nicer. And then it goes for the same for the seats. These are original leather seats for the Mark 5. I do love them to pieces. I wouldn't really want to get rid of them. So the other option there is I either have these completely retrimmed, I wouldn't know, I ain't got a clue how much that would cost, or I look at maybe Edition 30 seats because that has red trimming on the leather part, but then I got the tartan and I don't know if I want that or not. I'm umming and ahhing about that. The only other things I've done interior wise is the switches. So I've upgraded the switches and the light switches and stuff like that to Mark 6 switches, because, well, they were a bit rubbed and dated with my old ones anyway, so they needed doing, so I just thought I might as well upgrade them. I've also changed the inner door trims around the edges and stuff. Normally they come as like a sort of brushed chrome, which I do really like, don't get me wrong, but just because I've got like this sort of like piano black theme thing going on in areas, I found these at a scrapyard in an old Golf, and I just took them out, and there were no really wrong with them. They're a bit scuffed and scratched, but they're not that bad. So I took the old ones out and replaced them for them, and yeah, I really like it. I've never really seen them in any other car before, so I just went ahead and did that. I upgraded the centre console myself, just by the driver and passenger middle section armrest, because it didn't have one. To be fair, there's not many that don't have them, don't seem to anyway, but I didn't have one, so I found one in a scrapyard, fitted that, so that was nice. So now I've got an armrest, and then also just below that I've got the sliding drinks holder where you just slide that open, and then that's complemented with the bottle opener that slides in the middle, and then like gives you two separate drinks holders and sort of like keeps them a bit sort of separate, and then you just pop that back out, and then it sits nicely in a little like cut out for it at the bottom there, and then you just slide that shut, and that's nice and private. And then at the back, just behind here, there's two drinks holders. They're not the best things in the world, but they are there for the kids if they just want to pop a little drink in there. Before, it just had one big large drinks holder that was quite rattly, and it literally, you could fit a big, 2 litre bottle of pop in there. So it just seemed a little bit daft, didn't really need it. For some reason on these seats and on all the GTI models that I can think of, there's a little like lever just at the side here, and they've got like a cutout for what looks like a badge should have been installed, and for some reason I've never seen one with any badges on. So again, checked on eBay and people do make them. I don't know if they're just all aftermarket or if it was an upgrade you could get from Volkswagen, but mine now say GTI on them in like a metal stickered badge. So I fit them and they just like complement the seats a little bit better and just fill that stupid hole that just didn't make no sense being that way. I also upgraded my key, which sounds really daft, but the key just looks a bit like they just wear really easy. So I'd even had the VW badge missing off the back of it. So I bought a what they call it, like a silicone key cover, and it just looks that little bit nicer. It just fits straight over the top, and then your key itself's not getting worn as much. And then I complemented that with like a little GTI like sticker that would normally be a VW one at the back there. So that looks a lot nicer as well. Under the bonnet, because I've got an induction kit, when you take the airbox off the car, it's part of the engine cover. So because I removed that, you're then left with just the rocker cover of the vehicle, and it just looks crap. It just doesn't look nice at all. I don't care what anybody says, it looks boring. It makes the whole engine look smaller actually. So I always wanted to put another cover back over the top, because I couldn't really fit the original one because it was a huge airbox. I then opted for a TDI one, which doesn't fit, so I had to just make that fit myself. It's really flimsy, don't get me wrong. When I first put it on, it fit really well, but things have come loose and it's a bit flimsy. So on the outside, it's pretty much looking like an Edition 30. That's the look I was going for. It's the look I've always wanted to go for. So yeah, I've made it my own. I've spent lots of money, lots of time. Other than the remap, I've done everything myself. I'm pretty mechanically minded, and wherever I can't do something, I do seek decent advice from people, and I get good advice. I'm fortunate like that. So yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed looking around the car, because I've enjoyed building it. So there it is. That's the Mark V Golf GTI with all my modifications that I like doing to it. If there's anything that you did or didn't like, stick it in comments below. Obviously I prefer the positive comments, but each to their own. There's a lot of things that people aren't going to like about it, and fingers crossed going to be a lot of things that people do like about it. I've enjoyed the 3.5 years owning the car. Fingers crossed I have it for another couple more years. There's nothing I don't like about it anymore, so I'm pretty happy with it. Any ideas, again, stick them in that comment below. Feel free to subscribe. Hopefully you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow me on Instagram, go ahead. I'm at BigRich690. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you liked what you saw.